Charlie, I'm so excited to have you here in my house because we don't get to see each other enough.
No, because I moved to the countryside. But I'm coming back, bitches.
Because I always, whenever I see you, whenever I talk to you, I'm just like, I wish I saw you more.
Same.
It's something I always feel when I see you. It's so nice seeing you. And I always think about that day that I bumped into you on the tube and we were in like, do you remember this? We were in like rush hour.
In COVID times as well.
Yes, it was COVID times because I was going through like a socially distanced show and I was telling these crazy stories and you were like, Grace, we are in public.
I was like, what are you doing? Everyone around us looked disgusted at us. They were like, this is what modern feminism has led to.
So Charlie, I love you. Always a massive fan of yours. Very happy to have you here on the podcast.
I'm so happy to be in your house. You have the nicest house.
Thank you very much. What like is your, because before we started recording, you were like, oh my God, I don't have any party stories.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's an interesting angle. And then I said, do you drink? You said yes. And then you were going to say something.
Yeah, I guess like, so I have like, it's so weird because I could have the best like nightlife, partying life if I wanted, but I don't want it. I just don't, for some reason, it just, and I think I know, this is what I was going to say off camera. I didn't want to like spoil the conversation, but like, I don't get me wrong, I'll go out every now and then, but I really don't enjoy it like deeply in my soul. And I've like tried to force myself literally for my like whole life, like, since you're a teenager to like try and like it and go on nights out. Cause I'm like, oh, like, do you mean you have to like it? Like, and you'll like it eventually. And I'm like, babe, I'm in my 30s now and I'm just like, I just still don't enjoy it. So I've actually just given up now and like, I just don't do it. But,
and what is it about it that you think you don't enjoy?
Yeah, it's just that, not like, and this obviously taps into a lot of conversations right now, but it is just like the being, not necessarily being trans, but just being like queer and different. I'm so like nervous as a person, which is so off brand for me, and I shouldn't even be saying this on camera, but like, I'm such a, just because of what I've been through in my life, even like pre-transition, like just growing up a little feminine gay boy, like just how I've been treated, and like, I'm so like, scared. I can't explain. It's so weird because I'm so unscared. Like I'm actually like, I'm probably like the most confident person I know in a lot of ways, in that I'm like, I can, like I can't think of an example, but yeah, I'll just like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'll like, I'm not scared. Like, I'm so proud of who I am. I'm like, you can't tell me nothing. You've seen the videos of me being spat on online. I'm still arguing. Like, I'm like, I'm good. Like I can handle myself. I grew up in a council estate, but at the same time, like you can't like undo that. Like, for me, it just like, it's a really deep rooted like fear of like, oh, people are going to be starting on me. And especially when you involve like drink and like, especially being pre-transition queer, or even now being like a trans woman, you just know guys are going to be weird, or people are going to start on you, or you know, I just don't like it. And I've just like realized I need to stop forcing myself to like it, because it's just, it doesn't have to be for you. In the same way, like there's things I probably enjoy that other people be like, oh, I hate that. But like, I think it's such a core part of our British culture.
I know,
I'm like, I wish I liked it. I get invited to all the best parties, but I don't want to go.
But like, it's also, first of all, very like understandable why in loads of social situations you might feel like stressed and unsafe, and like, especially even from when you were a teenager, if you had like experience, it will be that you just like, you don't want to force yourself to be in situations that like you might feel unsafe in. But also there are going to be loads of places that you would be really safe in, but you still think you'd rather be like somewhere like...
I think it's because you've even got to think about getting there. Like I would obviously only go to gay clubs or to whatever kind of queer friendly spaces. Like I would only, if I'm going to like a friend's birthday who's invited me to a straight club, will go to a straight club. But like even in gay clubs, like I said, you've got to get there. Like I'm from a council estate in Ladbroke Grove. Like getting off the council estate and like in looking the way I do pre-transition or early transition, it's even like at this point, like you know, it's just like, it's scary getting public transport. That's the only place I've ever been like attacked have been on public transport. Like, and I've never got any like justice even when I've done the right thing and reported it and have video proof.
I know, well, that whole thing, you got attacked by two boys.
Oh, well, that's not even the worst one. That's just a bit of harassment. Like, that's normal for anyone. But
yeah, but still,
the time I got spat, do you remember when I got spat on? In COVID.
Yeah.
And it was all on camera.
COVID.
He admitted it.
And then nothing happened.
Nothing. He has to go to a community centre once a month and just check in and say how he's doing. Anyway, point being, like, even getting to the club, and I'm like, just the thought of being around like drunk people, especially drunk straight men, like I'm like, I just have no desire. I'm just so bored. I know I'm going to be the worst guest.
You're not boring. No, I have to interrupt. You're not, because actually, like, this is so fucking understandable and normal. And actually, like, I feel like this is why nightlife is kind of dying in loads of like communities, because like everything fucking costs so much. You don't want to go on the tube. You don't want to be out at night. Like you don't feel safe, which is so understandable. It doesn't make you boring. It's just very real. Like,
I guess there'll be people, probably people who listen will relate, because it's not really talked about much, because you do feel like I'm like, I wish I liked it. Like, I just don't.
No, I don't think you should pitch it as that at all, because it's like, this is the thing that I do find interesting, especially probably in the UK, is that people worry that they're really boring if they don't like go out and party and have loads of wild stories.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily make you more interesting.
No.
Sometimes it makes you more boring.
Literally, I'm more interested in you. Not you, but like, than
okay,
you.
Slow down.
Yeah, no.
We're equally as interesting. What were you just saying about your mum before we started recording?
I said that my mum likes Grace more than me. My mum literally, like, out of all my influencer friends, no offense, guys, but my mum is obsessed with Grace. Like, oh, I love Grace. Maybe you should do this like Grace. I'm like, Mum, I'm the British LGBT Influencer of the Year according to the British LGBT Awards. I think I know what I'm doing. But anyway, yeah, it's a...
Mums just love me. I haven't...
Okay. Mums don't love me. Literally, I'm probably like the least... I dread when I have a boyfriend, I have to go home to his mum, and she's like, Googled me, and like, she said, what? On her cream sofa, what happened? Yeah, literally. So, but I have the wild stories.
That's the craziest story.
They just don't come from the nights out. Oh yeah, I'll tell that story. Tell that story. That's going to be my podcast, which you've agreed to.
I have agreed to it. Yeah, and I'm going to do it. Tell that story.
Okay, so basically, one of my wildest story, because we're at almost 2 million views now, is where I was having a bit of fun with a guy. Actually, do you know what? I get slut shamed constantly online, and I'm fine with being slut shamed because I'm a bit of a slut. But in this case, I wasn't even a slut to be shamed. So like, I didn't even touch his penis, but somehow like we were making out, clothes are coming off. The reason I didn't touch his penis is because it didn't look like a penis I'd want to touch. No offense. So I was like, baby.
Not even with a barge.
You might want to go to a doctor.
You're there like,
I was like,
really?
Yeah, it was so bad. I was like, how dare you come to my house and put that in my face with whatever that is on it. Anyway, so sorry to that man. But anyway, point being, he sat back down on my sofa, and then I'm like waiting for him to get the hint, like, maybe you should leave because I'm not going to do anything with you. And then he finally gets the hint, gets up to leave. And I noticed, I'm like, what's that on my sofa? I noticed there's like a mark. It was a skid mark. And not even just one, there was two, like, behind the camera, Emily is gagged. There was two, they were intersecting. He'd sat down in a different position. And actually, a cross is probably relevant because, like, I'm Catholic and I have a lot of like Catholic guilt around like being a whore and like,
and you were like,
and I was like, God, this is God's side.
God
like,
is shaming me.
Yeah, literally,
this man's
like
skid mark.
It was, and I was like, I've already shamed this man for like having an ugly penis. I'm not gonna shame him even more. But like, now clean your shit up off my sofa. So I literally like a good Christian, I like covered like at the angle. I didn't touch it with the cushion, but I like covered it so he couldn't see it. And like, because I don't want him to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
And then I let him leave my house, and then I cleaned his shit for about an hour. I kid you not, it was so ingrained into the fibers of my cream sofa.
He must have been so unhygienic.
But this is the thing. I'm getting slut shamed online. Be like, but if you put things in, I'm like, I didn't put things in. First of all, I never put things in there because I'm a lady. But also, like, I didn't touch his bum.
No,
he didn't.
Well, also judging by what you saw on his neck, he's probably just not looking after himself.
You know what? I've never even put those two things together.
Like,
but yeah,
he's just probably not looking after himself.
No,
that
baby.
Is bad.
And then I basically filmed it like screaming, a guy came around my house and shot on my cream sofa. And then now gay people specifically, stop me in the street and shout on my cream sofa at me. So I'm starting a podcast which Grace is coming on called On My Cream Sofa, where people come and share their shitty dating stories with me. So you have to think of one.
Yeah. Well, I've got loads. And also, the thing is, but also weirdly, I'm such a kind of virgin at the moment that like I've forgotten.
At the moment.
Yeah, for the last like 2 weeks. But so many stories that I have from like when I was really like such a whore. And I'm really mindful that my mum's definitely going to listen to this episode of the podcast. Yeah. But I have forgotten so many stories like of things like sort of similar to that where I'm like, or even, I mean, I will have loads of stories.
I have a notes, you can do specific notes pages. I have a notes page just for my funny stories. There's like so many.
And you forget as well. Like once time passes, I forget. Like, it's good to remember. Anyway, but you don't like the Pope.
as I just don't like, do you know what? Like I'm raised like Catholic. I'm probably more like Christian spiritual now. So like I believe in like Jesus, Mary, being a good person, but I don't believe in judging anyone. I don't believe, like, not being funny, the Bible was written by men, not by God.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I don't believe
yeah,
what a
yeah.
man is telling me now. Why am I going to listen to what a man was telling me then? And I'm not about like the judging and the rules. Like I'm just going to be a good person. I know I'm a good person. I know this is who God made me to be. I was putting tights on my head as a 3-year-old and acting like I had long hair and telling my mum I wish I was a girl. Plot twist, this was like, whether you like it or not, God made this
God
to
wanted.
be.
Yeah.
God didn't want me to suck that dick on the sofa that day. That's why he put the cross there then.
Yeah, and that's why.
But I saw the cross and I took the sign. So yeah, it is what it is.
How is your like dating life?
How the fuck did you get onto that from that?
I love a segue.
Yeah. You were like, okay, Bible, dating life, okay.
God, no, but like, are you having fun with it?
No, babe, no. Let's just not give it. I would love to find love. Like, I'm a Pisces. What are you?
I'm a Taurus.
Oh, I love that. We got, yeah.
Yeah, my ex-boyfriend was a Pisces.
I love a Taurus. It's just like fucking dating guys is so dead. It's so boring. It's literally like, why do I do this? It's proof that being gay is not a choice because I would choose to be gay. Like, this is so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's boring. I do feel the same.
I just find it very uninspiring and unstimulating. And I also would rather be at home with my dog. Yeah. I think most things, like, I'd rather be at home.
I don't even have a dog and I'd rather be at home with my dog. I'm like, it's so boring.
A made up dog.
It's the absolute pits. Like, and it's like, literally like, it's not a singular thing, this on my cream sofa story where guys just don't wipe their bum holes. Because in the comments section of that reel,
what were people saying?
So many people are the same thing. But even like, there's like doctors who have come out and said, oh, there's a like 30% of like guys who come in to get checked out by me will leave a skid mark like on the like it's like real, like guys literally think like touching their bum hole is gay, like when they wipe their bum or shower or whatever. So like it's like an epidemic. So I'm like,
sorry, are you joking?
No, I swear on my life you could look at the comments. But I've seen like articles of that before, but it's crazy. But like, I'm just like, why would I? Because you know, with the whole like thing with trans women and who we date, people love to be like, oh, the guys you like are gay, and I'm like, I fucking wish. Like, I would.
Yeah.
Hey, are you mad at a gay guy over a straight guy any day? Like, what?
Obviously.
Like, and has respect for women.
Yeah.
Usually, knows how to wipe his bum. Smells nice, looks nice, has a nice house.
Yeah.
You know, isn't selfish in bed. You know, has a brain. You know,
but
can
also
talk about drag race.
is hygienic.
No, literally. I'm like, because people try and shame me with that, and I'm like, I would love to date gay guys, but like, it's proof that they're not, because no gay man ever has fancied me. Like, put in the comments if you fancy me. No gay man ever. Like, I wish.
I know. I have tried to get with so many men, honestly.
I've been lately going for bi. Like, that's my new. So if you're listening to this, I was very much a bit probably like toxic of the early transition where I was like, I felt validated by dating those quote like straight guys who like, I've never been with a trans girl before, and that like made I was like, oh, it means he like sees me as a woman. Did I feel so cunty like if he walks down the street with me? I'm like, they're the worst ones today, because it's like I said, that is what you're getting with those ones, all that boring, doesn't know how to wipe their bum, etc. But like,
but also, and what about like their relationship to you being a trans woman? Would that then all sort of like, would it be that they would sort of like say that this is so exciting, and then it's like they don't want to deal with also the politics of it, or like, how would that make you feel?
It never got to that stage, to be honest. It
really
just would be like, I had a boyfriend last year for like a few months, but like since that I've not had a boyfriend since I was like a teenager. Like, literally just like, but it's very hard dating as a trans girl, obviously, because most guys, just this is the tea, most guys would want to sleep with you just to try, even just once, just to try it. Obviously, why wouldn't you? But like, most guys of those guys aren't going to want to be seen with you in the street and bring you home to their mum and be like, oh, mum, I'm dead. Just because and I understand it in a way, because I'm like, it's like going to open a whole can of worms in your friends if they're all straight guys as well, or your family if they're not clued up, or so I kind of understand it, but it doesn't make it any easier for me. But
no,
like,
and also I do think it's that like so many men still have such a toxic like internal sort of like phobia. It's like what you just said about men not wanting to wipe their own arses.
Literally,
because or it's like my ex-boyfriend didn't like eating a banana in public because he thought it looked gay.
Wow, did he go to my school? Because like literally same.
I was just like, are you actually okay?
No, but they're not.
He would like cut the banana up, like even if
that's
we were
even
out,
gayer.
like,
That is so gay.
Like breaking up the banana.
You want to cut your banana up like a little toddler, like
yeah, exactly. You're mashing up a banana.
Grace to like bite it and feed it into your mouth, so it's coming from a woman, like a little bird.
Yeah,
but it's so true. Like, yeah, I don't know. But then having said that, that's why I'm going for bi guys now. So I'm like, if a guy's like comfortable in himself and like knows himself and like also just they're a bit more evolved, like. As the rule goes, I'm like, okay, so I think I've like evolved as a person, evolved as a trans woman, and so that's like.
I think that's a great realization, and also it's part of the journey because it's like you said, maybe at the start you wanted like the validation of it, and then now you don't need that validation. So now you're going on this journey of like knowing that you just want someone who's a bit more like comfortable in themselves.
Yeah, I think the more I've got comfortable in myself, like you then look for that in other people, and I'm like, I'm so at peace with myself right now that I'm like. People are going to be in the comments being like, oh, her voice is so deep. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but
and I get paid to speak with this voice and you don't. So I'm fine. Like, I'm actually so at peace with like I'm not trying to hide being trans. I'm so like, I'm one of the most well-known trans people in this country. Like, there's no hiding it. Like, if you're going to date me, people are going to say, that's that girl from the news who said, I'm bored. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no hiding it now. So I'm like, actually, it's very freeing. Like, I kind of almost like, in some ways, the girls who are stealth is like trans girls who are like so passable that you wouldn't even know. In a way, they have it easier because they go through life without anyone knowing and they're not going to face transphobia in that way. But then it must be so hard where you're like dating guys or like you have to tell a guy before you date him that you're trans. Well, I don't have to tell anyone I'm trans because it's so fucking obvious. But then also like do you know what I mean? It's just, there's different challenges.
Do you feel how like, and this is obviously, we don't have to talk about this very long, but with what's going on at the moment, like with these freaks,
no, with their ugly hair outside the Supreme Court,
ugly. Honestly, ugly. They are ugly with the worst hair and the worst clothes
and the worst views, obviously,
and the worst views, and they're just like not aspirational in any way. I don't want to be anywhere near them in a room with them. But how have you been feeling? You know, it's been like what I can imagine a very stressful period in terms of the news cycle and like everybody's talking about toilets and like bathrooms and it's just like it must just be really hard consuming. But how are you feeling?
Do you know what? Like interestingly, it's like everything going on in the news. I'm the thing going on in the news. Like as in like I'm the one being driven in to do the news. I've done all the newses.
You've been doing a great job.
And the irony is that like I posted this on my story the day I was driving in after the Supreme Court thing where like they got me a cab in and it drove past Grenfell where obviously my best friend Khadija, my lifelong best friend and my second mum and a lot more than 72 or 70 people. I'm telling you now, it was about 500 I'd say people died in that block that night. I drove past that and I was just like, this is the joke of Britain, is that like I am passing like the place where my friend was burnt alive because she was essentially black and poor to go and argue on the news with a bunch of posh white women why I should be allowed to use a toilet. I'm like, I actually don't really care, to be quite honest. Put me in the men's. I can handle it and I can handle your husbands. Like I'm just saying, I will give your husbands what they are not getting at home with you. With your ugly haircuts. Yes. So I'm just saying, like, I'm really not that bothered. I have much bigger problems in my life. And maybe trans people won't like me saying this, but I have bigger problems than where I go wee in public, okay? And you have bigger problems than that as well, because this is what I said on the news, like banning trans people from trans women from women's toilets isn't going to improve. It's not a win for women because it's not going to improve anything for women. Because guess what? We were never an actual problem. We were a hypothetical problem. You said, it was never this has happened, so we need to do this. It was, what if this happens? That's always been the way. And J.K. Rowling can't even argue with that because that's always what she said. It's like, it's what if a man dresses up as a woman? Well, how often does that happen? When does that happen?
And
men
also
don't need to dress up,
that's exactly
girl.
it. When do men
They're in your own home, girl. Beating up in your own home, Miss JK. Like,
when
what the
do they
fuck?
need to cope? They don't need to covert themselves to rape and abuse women.
No,
they never have.
Actually,
and they get away with it. So it's like, it's such a made up argument. It's based on fucking nothing.
It really is. And I would actually, again, maybe trans people don't want to say this, but if it came from a place of like, there was stats where like, the trans women would, and that's actually further to that point, actually, before I get onto that point, it's like, well, you're also like putting trans women who, you've just said cis men could dress up as us and say that they're us to get in. But like, you're now throwing us who have done nothing. Like, we've never done anything wrong to you. And you're throwing us into them with those, you know, they're predators and you're throwing us in with them. And you know, clearly someone looking like me is going to get either like sexually harassed or worse, or just like get laughed at, get like, you know, get beaten up, get spat on my face again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how any woman with a conscience feels like that's a win, because we've done nothing wrong to you. Like, if we had, and that's what I was going to say, if there were stats about like this clearly is a problem and trans women are just really predatory and do stuff wrong, I'd be like, do you not ban us then? Like, so be it. Like,
but there's no evidence.
There's no.
I know.
It's all just like what ifs. And it's like, my existence isn't a what if. I'm like a real person with real feelings, and I'm driving past, like I said, the fucking Grenfell, and I don't know, all these other problems in my life that are so much bigger than like, and I just feel like outside the Supreme Court, it was really deafening. I was like, these posh white women with
who
their
have fucking nothing going on.
And I was like, there was no black women in that crowd, no
Yeah.
like Muslim women, no disabled women, no. I'm just like, you're all just like, you've had to make up a problem.
I know.
To feel a problem.
100%.
And
That's
now,
exactly it.
I just think it's so sad, really.
I know, but it's sad, but it's also, it is having real life effects.
Implications,
and
yeah.
that's the thing that I hate the smugness that was like on these women's faces that day.
Because like I said,
J.K. Rowling,
if they'd won something, I would understand the smugness, but you've not won, we've just lost. Like, you've not gained anything, because rape is not going to go down.
Yeah,
workplace harassment or discrimination isn't going to go down. Period poverty, nothing's going to improve for women. You've just made the lives of people who already have a pretty shit walk of life. Like, it's hard. I would like to see any one of those women be like, oh yeah, I'll give it a go being trans. It's hard. Like, and I just think,
for no reason.
I'm not worried about myself. I said this as well. Like, I'm worried for, like, I've got loads of like parents of trans teenagers or whatever following me who are like 13 or like tiny little girl, and I'm like, I'm worried for them that you expect that little girl to go into the boys' toilets or the men's toilets and be like harassed. I'm worried for trans people who aren't as confident and godly as me and didn't grow up in a council estate in Ladbroke Grove. Like, I'm worried. I'm not worried for myself. I'm more worried for other trans people who aren't built, because I've had 10 plus years in the media now being
I know,
abused,
and also
so
it does feel at the moment like we're going so backwards.
Yeah, we are.
For a generation where it felt like there was real progress being made, and now it's like we're watching this like regression of what it used to be like, you know, in the fucking 80s. It's like we're going so far back in time. It's very odd and confusing, and I also think it's such a distraction tactic from, like you just said about like your best friend, and it's like we're talking about toilets when we should be talking about like what's going on in the Middle East and like the recession what the crazy stuff that Keir Starmer's saying, but we're all talking about this because it's an amazing distraction tactic and it's like, it's terrible because it's just trans people again get used as
we're the new political form. But it's this even closer to home, aside from like bigger things happening in the world. For J.K. Rowling, as this is all about like feminism for her, think of all the issues facing women specifically. Like, if we're thinking about feminist issues, that she could be channeling that 70 grand she put into that Supreme Court case, that she could have put into a fucking, I don't know, like a refuge or into like period poverty or into like grassroots things that are going to actually help women, not actually.
Or how about like helping women getting away from their abusive husbands, which is where most abuse happens, is like in the home, with a man, you know,
and you just think, we're not your enemies. I saw this
video the other day that annoyed me so much. It was this like I guess he's like a manosphere vibe man. I didn't know who he was, but it was on TikTok, and it was him saying to this other guy, and the guy was actually great at dealing with it, but it was him being like, would you rather your wife be safe at home or in a high-powered job, leaving her office at midnight because she's been working so hard, being in danger? And the guy was like, but more women are at danger at home. Like, that it just is the statistic. And this guy was being like, women are safe when they're at home looking after children and cooking and cleaning or whatever. And then the other guy, and it was really like well done, but also so concerning that like this is what so many men think, that women having jobs means they're more in danger, not that men just shouldn't be predators.
And that they haven't realised that they are actually the common denominator of the predator in this. It's like, you're protecting women from who?
And this is
from
like
men.
coming back
like,
to this conversation, we are completely missing the main topic. That men are fucking predators.
Not trans women, we've done nothing.
Exactly.
Most of us as well. I'm like, girl, I don't even like women. I'm like, most of us don't. Most of us are like fucking like, gay boys pre-transition who are now like hot slutty women.
Exactly,
I'm like, girl,
yeah.
no offense, look at me and look at all the women outside that Supreme Court. You think I'm interested in them?
Exactly.
If that's their hair up there, what do you think it's saying down there, girly? Absolutely not. But I'm like, if you want to put me in the men's toilets, like I said, more for you.
But that's exactly what I was saying that day. It's like, we're just missing the fucking point. And it is driving me mad because it's so offensive to so many people.
It is.
And it's degrading to trans people. It's offensive that, you know, as someone who's been raped, I know how much men can get away with it.
Yes,
they don't care. They don't give a fuck. Like, they'll do it in plain sight. And nothing ever happens to them. They don't need to go into toilets. They don't need to dress up as women. Yeah. And it's so offensive, this whole argument.
It's just as well like a disservice to women, but like I said, because as well as our rights being pushed back, women's rights globally are being pushed back. We like look at how abortion being banned in America could trickle over here. We've seen MPs like Rees Mogg even said like he thinks that abortion should be allowed. And look how high he is.
And people who have funded the like pro-life lobby in America are coming over here and giving money to like campaigns here.
And it's all intertwined because it's all to do with body autonomy. If you think about it, they're trying to like, they've officially right now banned like teenagers in the UK from being given any form of, not to do with medication, but any form of like care to help them with transgender dysphoria stuff. But then if you don't think that's going to trickle onto, actually we don't like, because Trump's now saying actually we are also going to ban trans adults from transition. You're like, you're going to what? Like, and it's trickling over here where like GPs, like my GP, I don't know if you remember my stories about a year ago, refused just cut blank and moved to this new area. And she was like, actually we're not comfortable with doing this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I jumped through all the NHS hoops 10 years ago, did exactly what I had to do, waited years for first appointment. And like, it's even more years now, but like, seen so many trans people, all influencers as well. So I'm thinking what's happening to the trans people who don't even have a voice, who are all of a sudden their GPs are just refusing to give because they can get away with it now. They know there's a catch-22 in the system where they can say, actually, we don't feel comfortable doing this.
But why do they care? This is the thing, why do they care?
Literally, but also it's like my point is that it links to body autonomy where like, if you don't think that, in the same way, like the struggle of trans people and transphobia will hurt cis women in the way that we've already seen, like stories about women in bathrooms being chucked out.
That's a woman in America, I think.
I saw one even over here though in M&S, like a butch because that's in America. People think America's so far away, but a woman in M&S in the UK was chucked out of a women's changing room because they were like, no, you're a man, and she's just a butch lesbian. She's not even trans, and like it's gonna start the body autonomy thing.
This is why these women are idiots, and they're idiots for being so naive that it's going to come back around and fuck them.
And the same laws that like the same reasons for arguing that can be used to hurt us can hurt you. Like if we're going to start saying like, well, if you want to use a women's bathroom, you have to be a woman with long hair, and they're going to describe like you need to be wearing a dress and have your legs out and have your boobies out. And, like it's going to become so prescriptive on how you have to be as a woman, and actually in a really sexist way of like, if you want to be seen as a woman, you have to be wearing 3 articles of women's clothes. Like actually, women should be allowed to wear what they. Also, look at the fucking women coming out of Supreme Court and their trousers.
I know.
Girl, put a skirt on. Like honestly, like if you're gonna be a woman, like look at me with my legs out today. But point being, like
maybe see a hairdresser at some point.
Literally.
Like just have a bit of a vision of what's going on up there.
Go.
What is the plan?
I'm
what's
just saying,
the long-term plan?
It's gonna hurt.
I know.
Or with how prescriptive womanhood is like gonna be made to be, it's gonna hurt all women.
No, I know, and I think that's the thing that I've sort of been thinking about as well. It's like I care so much and I hate it so much, and also in a very self-serving way. I feel really scared at the direction that this is taking the world in.
All of us.
And like you said, it's like once we start being allowed to like police people's bodies, suddenly we can't have access to contraception and abortion, and then it's this slippery slope, and we're living in really, really weird times. But I do think the way you talk about these things, and I know you did do stand up, but I think you should be doing comedy, because you talk about all of these things, which must be really difficult emotionally in loads of ways, but you're also consistently very funny when you do it.
I think we need to be like, when I went on the news and did it, and I was just like, he was like, are you nervous? I was like, I'm bored. Like, I'm so bored. Like, I was like, he was gagged. He didn't know what to say. And then I was like, what are you gonna do? Put me in prison? I was like, put me in a men's where I can get some dick. Like, I don't care. Like, I think we need to show these people that we're not scared. Like, JK is like, I bet, watching me not be scared. I'm like, she wants trans people to be fucking recluse themselves into living in their homes and like being scared to go out. And I'm like, no, we need to be doing the opposite. We need to be like fighting harder to be like, just like, no, you can't take, you can take away me using a toilet, but you can't take away my joy. So like, I think for me, that's, you've got to find some like humor in it and do it a bit different. I'm also just like so tired of us being victims, and like, I'm so fine with being the bitch of the trans community and being like, everything I've said on this podcast, I'm like, I say with my whole chest. There's a lot of trans people in the media who are like, have to be so PC and politically correct, and like, oh, they're not gonna be rude. No, I'm like, if you've come for me, I'm gonna come for you, and I'm gonna tell you about yourself. And
we need both, and it's like in all like movements and just it's different people. It's like not everyone's gonna be like that, but you have a real fiery energy.
Same to you. I always say like, you're like the me. If I was born a girl, I would have been you. If I was blonde and a bit classier, I would have been you.
But it's like you have that fiery. It's the same of, there's no way I would be able to be talking about anything in this way without being like slightly spiky and coming at it with my, I once saw a Chinese doctor and he said that he was like, your body runs very hot. Do you have a bad temper? And I was like, he literally just touched my back. He was like, you run very hot. Do you have a bad temper? And I was like, I'm actually working on it quite a lot at the moment.
You proved him right in that response. You said, watch your mouth.
But I do think you do it in a great way. And so how did it go when you did stand up? Because I remember you did that with, did you like it?
I did it. I didn't post about it, but I did it on the weekend. I did it on Friday. Just gone. I'm never doing it again. I've just realised.
No, but Charlie, you always have bad.
You still saying I was bad? Because I didn't say I was bad.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, joking. No, just for me, I was like, this isn't my medium. I was like, you are so good. Like, obviously, I've seen you live, and like, I saw, like, they put on a girl before me who was like my friend Kira, who's so fucking good.
I love Kira. Yeah.
Kira. She's so funny.
She's so funny. I was brilliant stand-up.
So good. Yeah. And I was doing like a 5-minute slot. She was doing a 15-minute one. And they put me after her. So I kid you not, I was just winging it. So I'm like, also like, not to be a bitch, but like I come from an influencer background where we're paid like a crazy amount of money for like nothing, and then I'm coming into comedy where you're paid like literally £70 or something to do like, I was like in my head, I'll give them £70 worth. Yeah. So I didn't, no offense to my friend who put on the night, but I was like, I'm not organized. I'm not gonna like plan what I'm saying. I'm not gonna learn jokes. So I'm sitting there thinking I'm gonna wing it, and then Kira goes on, is a joke every 10 seconds. I'm like, I've got about 3 jokes over my 5-minute slot. So I'm like, and I never get nervous. I thought I was gonna vomit. I was so nervous, and I did it. I was fine. I basically made a joke of how like unfunny I'm not gonna be. I was like, influencers aren't funny in real life. We're only funny behind screen. Anyway, point being, I like came off stage. I was like, I'm never doing that again. But what I've realized is like, I'm good at telling a story. So I think I'd work better in a podcast. Like that's when I'm gonna start the podcast. I could do like a long drawn out funny. Yeah, but you're so talented to be able to be funny on a.
Well, you just have to sit down. It just takes fucking ages writing material.
No, well, I'm not going to do that for £70. So I guess I'll just never do it. Because,
no, I know. And that is the thing. Yeah, but that's material that you don't only get. You get like, I've been doing the same 4-minute bit. I've probably done it like 300 times by now. And it's the same bit that like no one's ever seen online. So I just keep doing it over and over and over again.
That's clever.
And then it just does take ages to come up with new bits. You don't do it.
I don't want to have to do that.
Well, but also it's like I still think you should keep doing it, if I'm honest, because I think you have such a great like kind of energy, like a comedic energy that would work. I haven't seen you on stage that would work well on stage. But yeah, you writing material is long.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's really sweet of you to say.
So I don't think you should just...
We'll see.
How did the set go on Friday?
It was fine. I told my On My Cream Sofa story. So I was like, I'm going to tell them a story and plug my podcast. Because there's like brands in the room. I was like, if any brands my last joke is if any brands want to like... So, but it was all right. I just realised I was like, it's not for me, to be honest. I'm more going in like that's the thing as well with like what I was saying about like all the stuff going on in the news. Like the more political you are, and we were saying this before we went on air, like brands are more wary to touch you. And I've like been very lucky that the last 5 years I've been an influencer, quotation marks, and like done really well for myself. But like now it's almost impossible to not, even aside from the trans stuff going on, but like specifically that, because it's so rooted in who I am. Like, how am I supposed to not talk about what's going on and be political? But like with everything going on in the world right now, like it's hard not to be political. But like the minute you are taking a side on anything, brands are like, oh, we only touch people who say love is love when they're talking about LGBT rights. They do not want to touch anyone who's like, I think this is wrong. No more money for you. And you know what the sad thing is like, because you came from the same sort of space as me, where we both like became friends for our campaigning stuff.
Yes, exactly. And it's very hard to just not be. It's like what I was saying off camera, but I've just pulled out of something, and I was like, I can't, with my conscience and the way that I've come up as a comedian, and actually like so much of my work before that was about like campaigning and
therefore
being
you're
political.
following all the people who follow you are like follow you for the reason.
Totally. And this is what I hate about like working with certain people, or like people expecting you to then suddenly turn around and be apolitical. You're not going to do that. That's how the reason you're getting offered jobs is because you have this audience who love you for being have a voice and like talking about things in the way that you do. You can't just then, because you want, brands can't expect that of you. It's so contradictory to be like, we want to work with you because of you, who you are, but could you be a little bit less political and not talk about stuff? And it's like, well, no.
And the gag is that the reason they wanted to work with us originally was because we were political, because they were trying to save their bums in Black Lives Matter. And with everything going on in 2020, they were like, oh, we clearly need to like, activist became like the hot word with like online stuff. Like everyone I knew who was doing well, me included, was like, and the same with you, I guess, because you come from that background. Like they really, all brands wanted to kind of co-opt activism and be like, oh, like I was on billboards for Body Shop and stuff. I'm not saying Body Shop are actually still really good to me, but like point being like that we were like, they wanted to use us instead of models. They wanted to use activists, people with causes because of the cultural climate of everything going on. And then so that they take these activists like me, who all my money came from public speaking and my book, To My Trans Sisters, and my campaign, Now Transphobia, and I did my BBC doc and stuff. And then but then became reliant on the influencer gigs because there was so much more money that I was doing fine for myself, and I paid all my money from those writing and speaking gigs. But then all my money then came from influencer gigs, and I was earning a lot more for doing a lot less. And I still was political, and they were fine with that because of the culture at the time. But then all of a sudden, it just got less acceptable to be.
But it's weird. It's because of trends, and this is what's so sad. It's like they go away from it, and then they'll come back, and it's.
But the sad thing is,
it's this trend that just gets like co-opted.
But you become reliant on it. So they chose me because I was political. Yeah. And then at some point in their eyes, I became too political, even though I'm actually doing the best I've ever done. Like I said, I've just won that award last year, LGBT Influencer of the Year. My engagement's better than ever, but I'm getting less work than ever because of the nature of my work, I guess, being a bit too political. And you're like, you've taken these activists, made us reliant on your money, and then thrown us out. And I'm like, oh God, like now I've got to. So in terms of that's why I was trying stand up, and that's why I'm gonna probably, I don't know, do the podcast. I've just got to try and be smart. It's a really scary time. It's been so humbling, honestly, to like be gone from earning so well to like just to be a bit vulnerable, to be earning absolute like the least I've ever been earning in my career.
Yeah, probably. No, it is, and I mean, I'm like so aware of the fact that at the moment, I really think that it's becoming more hostile in loads of different ways, and it's just about trying to, make sure that you fucking getting people to really try and champion you because you're amazing. And maybe actually doing this probably won't go in the podcast, it's kind of like career chat, but doing a podcast I actually think is such a wise idea because it gives other ways for brands to work with you, and it gives, and also it's this thing that you are doing that isn't actually political.
Exactly,
it's just you're going to talk about dating, and like it gives you this other. It's kind of why I wanted to have a podcast about parties, which we haven't spoken about once. But I was like, it gives me this thing that isn't like being expected to talk about really like dark things that I've spoken about, or like the people want me to talk about, or like even feminism. It's like I wanted to just have a podcast about parties so I can just be silly and like talk. And that's what I think will be great
like
for
separation of like self. And so like, even if I'm being a bit much, like hopefully you can still make a bit of money from
but also it gives you it gives you this sort of like format where you're not going to be like they're stereotyping that you only talk about a certain thing. Here is me being very versatile and talking about loads of different things. I think that's what's a good way.
That's clever.
And then they can fit you into other things basically.
That's the goal.
Yeah. If you were going to throw a party, but you had access to kind of like anything. So it could be wherever you want it to be. You could have whoever you want performing or DJing or whatever. Would it be a big party? What would be the vibe? It doesn't actually have to be a big party if you didn't want it to be.
I don't know that. Like, give me an idea. What would you like? Have you done yours?
My dream party, I haven't actually done mine, but I think if I could have, I would love to have a party in like a castle in Scotland in the Highlands, and it's like summer but still got like a, you know, cold at nighttime vibe, and then it would probably be like some bagpipes, a ceilidh, and then a rave.
I love that.
Without the
I feel like you're dressed for it.
Yeah,
you're
I
wearing,
know.
like a tartan, like, but summer tartan.
Yeah, I love this. I just got this.
I don't know, to be honest.
Do you like hosting? Like, do you ever have?
Oh, girl, no. I'm like, do you know what? It's so weird. Like, I'm like such a extroverted introvert. Like, I'm actually like, I hate, like, I never do a birthday party. But I've only ever done a birthday party once, and it's because I didn't organize it myself. My friends threw me, because I was really late to clubbing, like to partying. And I did have one, I probably had a few good nights. I'm being like extra harsh, but like the best one ever was my first one ever. And it's just never, I think that's probably why I stopped as well, because it just never topped that. Because basically, like, my friends, like, for a bit of context, so like I said, grew up on a council estate in Ladbroke Grove, like was very lucky that even though like there was a lot of hate around me of like a lot of people being really mean to me, like I had my group of girls, and like this is why I find all the stuff about trans stuff in the media right now really sad, because I'm like, women and trans women who, like I said, most of us used to be little gay boys.
Yeah.
We've never been your enemy. We like, it's just really sad. But anyway, so had my girls around me, and they like threw me a surprise birthday when they took me to
How
DIY.
old were you?
I was 19, so I was actually quite late. Like, I've never been to a club before 19. It was my 19th birthday. And it was the best night ever. And it was when Madame Jojo's was still around. Do you remember Madame Jojo's? So that was like drag club. And then, so we went there. Also like foreboding, because it was like it wasn't called a drag, it was called the T-slur. It was like T-slur shack.
Right, okay.
I could say tranny shack. It was, I like, it was like, so it was like, they made us all like, my friend was like, we're not telling you where we're going. Like, I don't know what we're doing, but they were like, just dress up, like be yourself. So I like put makeup on. Like, I just felt like, it was the first time like I felt like so like, allowed to be like really, really, really myself, like in a space like that. I'd never like, you know, I was very like young and like never, and I went to a really like tough all boys school where like I definitely wasn't allowed to be like that. So just like having my friends, all these straight girls around me, just like, but like, we're gonna take you somewhere where you feel safe. And it was like so, and I like could cry thinking about it now, but it was so special.
Really amazing.
And like as I came in, like my favorite song right then was Britney Spears, like Hold It Against Me. I don't know why I love that song so much. I think it's so underrated. And that song came on as we walked in, like the start
like,
beat, and I was like, God is like telling me like happy birthday, bitch. Like, and it was the best night ever, and I like treasure that. And they made like a group card for me, and I like have like treasured that forever. And like, do you know what? That's probably why I don't like partying now, because it's just never topped that. So if I got to throw like a party, I would like throw a night like that for like young queer kids who like are in areas where they're not like, or not even areas, but like they're not surrounded by people who like, they just need to be in a space like that where they get to be themselves and feel so celebrated, and like just and allies as well aloud, because they're like my everything in my life, my like girlfriends, my straight girlfriends, and like just to have a place that you just can like let young queer people be young queer people and just be as like gay and queer as they want. Like that's so special. So like, but rather than Hold It Against Me playing when we walk in, it'll be actual Britney Spears lip sync in it. Because it won't be live, it'll be, and I don't want it to be right. She'll be doing her little kitchen twirls with the knives.
No, don't, because they stress me out so much.
And yeah, she'll announce to the crowd, hi guys, I burnt down my gym with a candle the other day. I live! Anyway, so Britney's
I live
like,
for them, but there was one where she broke her ankle and she kept it in the edit, and it was, you heard the sound of her ankle breaking.
What the hell? I want that there.
Yeah, you want
pay
that.
Her extra to break her ankle as well. I live. Britney's my queen. Britney and Gaga are my two. So yeah, like that would be my special.
That is
like
an amazing answer.
Oh yeah,
I was amazing answer.
So underwhelming on this podcast this whole time about parties.
First of all,
but like,
okay, can I say that answer was so good? You had the emotional arc of like, you had this night with your girls and it was a really liberating moment for you, and then you are like, I'm gonna give that to other people, so now you're selfless, so you make everyone else look like bitches for being like,
good.
I want to be in a mansion in Scotland.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and there's gonna be like fucking champagne everywhere. You're like, I want to give that experience to young queer kids. And
You can give that experience to young queer kids.
And a Kaylee.
Yeah.
Have you been to a Kaylee?
No, but that's where they dance in a circle.
Yeah.
I'm going to one next year. My friends getting married. My lesbian friends are getting married.
I love
in
a
Scotland.
Kaylee at a wedding. Yeah, that's vibes.
Are you Scottish? Yeah.
Yeah. I love a Kaylee. I would love to have a big Kaylee. But anyway, that was just a really nice answer.
Thank you, Grace.
And yeah, I think that's such a sweet story, to be honest.
Thank you, Grace.
Yeah. But I also feel like you would be very fun at a party. This is the thing that's...
For 5 minutes, like I can be the best person in the room for
And then
5
you-
minutes.
and
And then
there's-
I want to stay home for a week.
Yeah.
I will do the splits in the middle of the floor and
then-
everyone will live. And then I'll say, okay, I'm off. Like, get that fire exit door, I'm off. I literally am that. I'm like all or nothing. I'll be the best person and then quiet for the rest
And then
of
you have to recharge.
I hate being around people. I hate it so much. I'm such
So
a weirdo.
relatable. It's
I'm
so
such a weirdo.
relatable.
But you have a dog at least to be on your own with. I literally just sit in my bed like this
Yeah.
for the rest of the week. I'm
But
like, and in my head I was like, I was really funny. Like, I'll literally be like, yeah, I was really good. Everyone loves me. And then I'll watch my stories over and I'm like, yeah, that's me.
That's literally what
Oh
I
my
do.
God.
Yeah. But I also feel the same. I hate being around like people a lot.
Yeah.
And when you're a stand-up, it's like that last week I did 6 gigs in one evening.
In one evening.
Yeah. In just clubs in Soho. So I was just moving around
What
there.
the hell?
But it's just so much small talk over and over again. And it is a lot. Like,
Oh
I actually
my
had a
God.
really fun night because I was with this great comedian called Josh Jones. I don't know if you know
I know
him.
Josh
Yeah.
Jones. I love Josh.
Josh Jones is the Alan Carr
Yeah.
of our generation.
He's so
Because
funny.
I kept going on before him, so I never got to watch his set. And then right at the end, I watched his set. He is so talented. Like,
He's so,
like the
so
Alan
funny.
Carr. Like, it's like watching him is like what it must have felt watching a young Alan Carr. He's just so naturally funny and great at jokes. Like,
And
yeah.
he's so nice.
He's so sweet.
nice.
Yeah. He's
Hello. Hello, Charlie.
Yeah. I
He's
love
so
him.
sweet. But basically, it's just a lot. And then I'm like, I need to be alone.
Yeah.
After that, you just need to be alone.
You can't be a star all the time. And we are stars,
True.
Grace. We need to recharge.
Need to recharge. I know. I just sometimes get very sad when I recharge.
Oh, no, same. Yeah, same. Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, more attention, please.
No, literally,
Like,
literally.
somebody
same.
validate me.
Literally same. I think that's anyone who has a big following is.
Yeah.
Yeah. secretly.
Yeah. I need love.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyway, I love you.
I love you more. Thank
You've
you so
been
much.
such an amazing
Honestly,
guest.
It's been
Hi,
so
princess.
important to like the conversations you've helped have, because I know like a lot of your followers are women, most of your followers, and you're like so respected in that space as like a voice of like modern feminism. And I'm just very grateful that you use your voice to stand up for the people who need it.
Well, I love you.
I love you too.
You know, I'm so glad that we could have this conversation. And I just think you're amazing.
I think you're amazing too.
Thank you.
I really love you, Grace.
I
Thank
love you.
I love you too.
Yeah. Don't.
Are you gonna
No,
be
I know.
lesbians now?
It's
Like,
real
no, I
love.
said I was
It's
like,
real
I'm
love.
sick of straight men.
Yeah.
I want to date Grace. I want half of this flat.